Thank you for your interest in Liberty Mutual. Ineligible. State Farm. We can't provide an online quote. Hello, everybody. Today we're discussing about car insurance and insurance in general. I kind of look like an insurance salesman, don't I? But in terms of this past couple of months, it has been insane. I've been looking up inflation. I've been looking up mortgage rates. I've been looking up APR for, new car loans and whatnot, special interest rates, and then which industries have been impacted the most over the past year, and also for states, which states have been impacted by insurance premiums rising the most. Thankfully, Illinois is not on that list, but that makes this next point even more terrifying. Progressive said, hey, with your renewal, your premiums have gone up over 20%. This is not your fault. This is due to A, my risk category, but B, everybody's premiums have gone up. And you go on Reddit and you see a lot of people saying, oh, it did go up 20%. Or you see in other states, the worst states, have gone up even up to as high as 44%. That's insane. Multiple states are over 30%. That's crazy. So if you're paying, in my case, I was in the 400s. Now I'm going to be in the 500s for two vehicles. Now, the big reason, this is what I found out, was behind my risk category. Obviously, if you have any violations, accidents, tickets, it goes against you. And this sometimes goes back 3 years, sometimes as far back as 5 years, or potentially even more. And on top of that, your credit is a huge impact. So yes, I did have 2 accidents last year. One was at fault, the other was not at fault. Now, if it's a small accident under $500, which if you can imagine, even the cheapest car, unless you literally had a parking scrape in a garage, it's going to be over $500. Because when I had a accident not at fault, this gentleman hit my parked vehicle. That was over $2,500 on a 2015. Now it's 2024, but back then, 2023, 8-year-old vehicle that at the time was probably worth anywhere from $12,000 to $14,000, maybe a little bit less, obviously a lot less after that incident. And he kind of messed up 2 panels, not super bad, but it was pretty noticeable. And the light was scratched a little bit, but it was over $2,500. My deductible was $1,000, so I got like $1,543 or whatever. Now, they're still chasing, and there's potential of subrogation that maybe I get my $1,000 deductible back, but probably not, and since in this case, this individual was taking a rental vehicle, so that's one point against me because they went through the renter's insurance and they denied, and now they're going after him. He hasn't responded a single time to either insurance companies or to the police or anybody. I mean, this guy just doesn't care because he ran away, most likely was inebriated when I called the police. He did not want to speak because probably he would have gotten a DUI. You could smell the alcohol. And no normal person. I mean, honestly, how could you not see me? It was just such a silly accident. So it was interesting because that could raise your premiums right there because you file a claim, although I had to file a claim. Otherwise, I would have lost money. Thankfully, I did get money back. And then I totaled that vehicle a couple months later. This was due to my fault. In both cases, that was well over $10,000 of damage to my vehicle. I mean, it was totaled at that point. And in total, with both vehicles, because I did hit another vehicle and there was property damage, I don't even think this was including the deductibles. I think it was over $17,700 in damage. I think with deductibles, it was closer to $19,000 or potentially even $20,000. So this was obviously the one that kind of messed my premiums up. Everything would go up. But I found out the hard way recently. Okay, Progressive, I switched from State Farm because Progressive is known for being better for younger age kids, such as me. I turned 26, but at the time I was, I've been with Progressive for over 2 years. At the time, I think I was 23, 24. And State Farm was giving me really high premium rates, and it was just one vehicle back then. It was just my 2015 Volvo. And I saved quite a bit of money switching to Progressive. And then you get loyalty discounts and whatnot, and it's been all right. However, with this latest raise where I'm going to be at like $522 a month, that's quite a bit, especially for 2 vehicles. And there's a couple of things that go against us. One is my wife only had her driver's license 1 year. 2, she's under 25. 3, I have the accidents on there. Technically, there's within the 3-year period, technically there's another violation, or not violation, an accident. This was in like January of 22, I believe. So within that 3-year period, not at fault accident where I was driving the Volvo and there was a piece of metal or whatever that I was driving behind a tow truck and it fell off this tow truck and scraped on the underside of my car. And I had no idea what I was doing. I panicked. I called the insurance first thing. And I said, I got the driver's license plate, not the driver's license, the license plate of the tow truck, but he ran away. What do I do? I'm filing a claim. Well, that messed me up because that raised my premiums later. Great, with State Farm. And now I filed a dispute with LexisNexis Solutions, which is the main place that these insurance companies go to for these reports. So hopefully I'm able to get that removed. So maybe my premiums can go down a little bit. I don't know. But it was not at fault, and they said, hey, your deductible is $1,000. This repair is probably a couple $100. It doesn't make sense. So I said, okay, I'm not going to do any repairs, and it was a $0 claim. So technically that shouldn't raise my premiums, but it did. It's technically 3 accidents. And then you have my credit score. And this is where it gets good. If due to, okay, this is what we care about. Number of accounts 30 days late in the last 12 months. Number of collections in the last 60 months in accounts have reported 30 days late or more. Number of inquiries, length of time since most recent bank revolving account. This is what State Farm has forwarded me because State Farm couldn't even accept me. It was an instant rejection. Average number of months since National Consumer Telecom and Utilities Exchange connections. This NCTUE is the first time I've ever heard about it, and I ordered a report, and I think that's either to do with my utilities or my phone bill. But the thing is, I've been late, and I know if you're under 30 days, it's not going to get reported. If it's over, the utility companies usually don't care. They don't report it regardless to the credit bureaus. So it is interesting. They will report to here. But it is interesting that your insurance company cares about this. I get it, if I was going to like Verizon or something else. But AT&T keeps approving me for lines, and I have no problem there. They don't care. Now, that could be when you go to a new company. Let's say I wanted to switch to Verizon or T-Mobile, and they saw that, and they'd be like, no way. But with AT&T, I pay my bills for the most part. I do the, hey, can I pay 10 days later, 15 days later? It's because the date that my payment is due is not preferable. It's due on the 4th, where I usually got paid on the 10th. That was the big paycheck. So anyways, it could be because of that. Could be the technically late, up to a week or 2 payments. I don't know. Number of National Consumer Exchange accounts. So that's interesting. I've never seen this report. I can't access it. You have to physically order it. I have, but I'm not sure. Total of latest balances. Again, there's a lot of unknowns here. The number of accounts reported in the last 12 months. I'm actually really curious, like, what's going on here? Who reported what? And, But anyways, the fact that insurance really cares about this and cares about it so much, your credit score and payment history, compared to, at the bottom here, here's your collision and here's your accident, and that was that. It's literally, and by the way, they don't even have the first one because that probably didn't even register. Some companies don't even care about that because it was $0. Ironically, State Farm was the one that it happened with. They don't care about that. They haven't listed it. And they were the ones that did care initially, that did raise my premiums. So that's kind of interesting. But anyways, with everything, look at that. That's absolutely insane.
We're sorry, we're not able to provide the insurance you requested, Allstate. Well, it is credit. Those receiving the most favorable scores typically have accounts that have been on file for 15 years or more. There is at least one auto-related inquiry in the past 2 years. Wow, that's like most Americans. At least one credit card inquiry within the past 2 years. Pretty crazy, huh? And by the way, what's ironic is within the next year, all of my inquiries will disappear, because some of them will disappear literally in a month or 2 or 3 months. But that's fine, whatever. It is okay. So just another, and continued on next page. Yeah, I mean, again, all these insurance companies, all they care about is your credit score.
The fact that you're telling me that those 2 accidents, collisions, they make less of a difference than my credit score. And we'll go into why. But I've applied to all the major insurance companies, every single one. And I get it. Some of these companies, the craziest one I think was Geico a while back, that was over $1,000 per month. Insane. So over $500 per month per car. And the lowest one I found was able to beat my rate by a couple dollars, but we're still talking, in the 500s. I think it was 514, 515. And the agents didn't even call me. One agent from Erie Insurance didn't call me, and it switched to another agent, and he never called me. And yes, I will call, but out of all my options, that seems to be the best right now. I'm trying to find a better one. That's why I'm not like, oh yeah, if it was by $20 better or $50, of course I'd call. But at the moment, that's kind of like the last resort. Like, it's a little bit better, but also I lose my loyalty discount with Progressive if I go over there. There was brokers I called that the brokers said, oh yeah, you have Progressive, like no one's going to beat it. And that's not entirely true if it was a normal situation, but I've applied through, I was looking at the dealership, and there was a TV ad about this sketchy insurance company, and I was like, that's the one. I did that. I did direct auto insurance. I was thinking about every single insurance company that I've ever seen, because I've seen so many insurance cards at the dealership, probably over 1,000. And obviously State Farm and Progressive and Allstate and Country Financial and some of the more local ones towards Illinois and Wisconsin. I've seen those a bunch, but I remember like Direct Auto and looking into it, and it was like usually cheaper. But both years I applied, this year and last year, were like crazy outrageous. And on top of, being like $900 per month, you had like money down, like due today as of signing, you'd have to pay like anywhere from $500 to $900, depending on both applications. Last year was a little bit better before the bankruptcy. What I'm getting at here is almost half of the major companies that I applied to instantly rejected me. I called the agents, I called the, brokers. They couldn't even do anything. They said it's due to my credit. So this wasn't the case before bankruptcy. I had bad credit before bankruptcy. I had a very similar credit score. It was the bankruptcy and the credit. And what happened was, right before bankruptcy, I stopped a bunch of payments because I knew they were going into bankruptcy anyways. That's what the lawyer said, stop your payments. And that's what did me in. And my credit score bounced back, and after the bankruptcy, and those accounts were wiped and whatever. But yet insurance cares. Insurance cares about every little crazy detail. And the only way out of it is if you're in one of the 3 states that it won't matter. If you're in California, fantastic. If you're in Hawaii and Massachusetts, fantastic. There's a couple other states where it won't matter as well for auto insurance, but it may for home insurance, or there may be certain limits or whatever. But that's the terrifying thing, is if I purchase a house, that would also greatly impact my monthly payment, not only with my car, but with my house as well. And the reason for this is, okay, if someone's bankrupt and they're also not in the best credit situation, in my case, I can't go out and get credit cards. It's impossible, because after the bankruptcy, it was still possible before the bankruptcy. So regardless of credit, I certainly was able to, I even got offers. There's subprime credit card companies out there, but now I can't take out any loan, any advances, anything. So we're in a situation where you have a huge amount going in, and insurance sees, hey, the cost of cars now, you can have a $50,000 car. You can have a $100,000 car. New cars, used cars, everything's going up in value. The cost of parts and labor and everything's going up. There's massive inflation. You have more drivers on the road. You have greater risks recently. I don't know. They've established a lot of things. You have more people who are defaulting on their credit recently, and repos and all this stuff. And they take a look, and they're worried about these huge values they will have to pay this out. And they see someone who's a credit risk, and they assume the worst, that someone who doesn't have access to loans or credit cards or any of that will be desperate and will do fraudulent activity, such as maybe they might burn their car down, or they might just crash it, or they might leave it open running in a very not pleasant area, and might report it stolen. Hey, it's totaled, I've gapped, no problem, right? Now, obviously, I've never thought about this because I'm a responsible citizen that pays my taxes. However, There's other bad apples that have certainly ruined it for the rest of us. And that's why insurance won't even bother. They're not even going to give me a crazy, outrageous rate. They're just going to say, sorry, we don't accept your kind. And that's that. So it looks like I'm staying with Progressive for now. Well, potentially maybe Erie. I'm still looking through companies, and I want to go to an in-person broker. I mean, there's a bunch of sketchy and out-of-state insurance companies that I'm trying to find a decent one. Like Erie Insurance is a good company. It's a decent company, but there's got to be somewhere, somehow, some company that's actually going to accept me. And, even if it's $20 less than I'd be paying, that's $20. Except over the course of a year, that adds up. Now you're talking about hundreds of dollars that you're saving. So, I don't know. Number one thing is, yeah, my credit will be probably perfectly fine after the bankruptcy gets dismissed. In approximately, 4 years and 9 months or something like that. Wow, great. I only have to wait 5 years for car insurance to potentially go down. And yeah, once these accidents, go off the record after 3 to 5 years, depending on the insurance company, it might get a little bit better. But it is crazy. Insurance for cars, for homes, for health insurance. Health insurance is absolutely outrageous. Just started a new job. I saw what I will be paying for a high deductible health plan because they don't even have PPOs. So that's the one thing I miss from the dealership. They have a great PPO plan that I was paying less for. But there's the other aspect to insurance is, where does this money come from? Well, the employer is paying the rest of it. And I know they were probably paying a pretty penny for that. Because I don't know how much they were paying over there, but I see, you could find out with like Cobra and whatnot. But they're also switching plans. So I can't even do Cobra, and it would be way too expensive for me regardless. But I see what my current employer will be paying, and it's outrageous. They're going to be paying well over $1,000 per month for not even a good plan. That's crazy. That's insane. And I'm not even like 50 or 60, 70 years old, close to dying, It's it's insane. So insurance in America, scam. Now, obviously, if you have crashes and whatever, regardless of country, that's going to be the case. But you didn't have this in Europe. Yeah, you have different types of scores or whatever. There's still risk scores, but this FICO score, man, it's once you screw up, that's it. So anyways, that is that. I finished my first week as a banker. And tomorrow I will have Saturday and Sunday off, 2 days in a row in the weekend. That's kind of nice. That's nice. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, have a good rest of your day. Take care. And if you're new, check out my other channel about Volvos. The link is in the description below. Thanks so much.